All right. Happy Friday. Nice to see you all joining for Pilates. I'm Rachel. If anyone is visiting this recording at a later date and I don't see your name up on the screen, hello and welcome. We've got a 45-minute flow style class planned for today. No equipment necessary besides your mat and a good attitude to come and join and move. Work through at your own pace. If there's anything that we're doing that doesn't feel great for you during class time, please feel free to modify by any means necessary. If there's a modification that I think I can give, I'll do my best to give it during the class. But otherwise, find a modification that works for you, or simply stop, take a couple of deep breaths, close your eyes, and join us when you feel ready to move on to the next task that feels good for you. But let's get ourselves moving. I'm going to grab my phone, set my timer, and then we will get rolling. All right. So here we are. That timer's starting right now. We'll place that right in front of us. Let's start with those feet spread apart, a little bit wider apart than our shoulders, and we're going to turn our toes out toward either front and bottom corner of the room. As we do that, let's spread our feet apart a little bit, spread those toes away from each other. Make sure that the base of the big toe and the base of the pinky are both pressing firmly into the mat. We're going to soften up our knees a touch and then shift toward the toes and shift toward the heels. Just rock back and forth. If you had a little pencil coming up from the crown of the head, you'd be drawing a little vertical line on the ceiling. Let's gently draw the belly and spine toward each other as we do so. We'll keep rocking forward and back. And then let's take our hands right to our midsection. As we press the heels of the hands right in toward that pelvic area, we're going to feel a little bit of activation, a little bit of work through those core muscles. Just simply working to hold us upright versus gravity. Let's take our weight right back over the heels again. We're going to picture a string coming up from the crown of the head going to the ceiling, and a string dropping down from the crown of the head all the way through the middle of the body, dropping a plumb line between our two heels. We're going to hold those core muscles nice and active as we roll our shoulders back and down. Circle them for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take a big breath in, reach those arms up overhead. We'll exhale them out to the sides and right down by our bodies. Again, big breath in, arms come up and overhead. Let's clasp our palms, turn the palms to the ceiling, and press those elbows straight as you can get them. As those hands reach up to the ceiling, we're going to think about dropping our shoulder blades down toward our hips, giving us a nice stretch, nice opening across the outer borders of those shoulder blades. Keeping the core active, draw the belly to the spine. We're going to take some tall side bends, a little bit of upward reaching toward the top side of the room where the wall and ceiling meet on either side. Sway it at your own pace. Inhale up, exhale, side bend. And same thing over to the other side one more time. We'll breathe in, bringing those hands to the ceiling. Let's leave them there. Let's narrow up our base of support. Heels are now lined up right underneath our sit bones. Let's take the arms out to the side. And let's roll those fingertips, making some circles on the wall out to either side of us. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Keep that core engaged. And let's circle the other way. Circle those fingertips forward. Feel the upper arms doing a little bit of work to hold the weight of those limbs up as we circle. Pause the hands out at that T shape, and we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back, opening up the chest, and we're going to pulse those hands toward the wall behind us. Squeeze for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come right down by the sides. We'll give them one more squeeze up to those shoulders. We'll drop those fingertips to the floor. And now let's lift our toes up off the mat. Base of the big toe, base of the pinky stay pressed into the floor. If you look down towards your feet, you can draw your attention to the inside arches. You should feel those arches lift up just a touch from the mat. We're going to try to keep that lift through the arch as we spread the toes apart and take them down one at a time. Pinky toe first, then 4th, 3rd, then 2nd, and then finally that big toe presses into the mat. Let's repeat. Lift the toes, spread them apart, take them down one at a time, almost like we're drumming our fingertips on a coffee table. There's 4, 3, 2, finally 1. Press those big toes down into the mat. We're going to shift our weight forward over the toes. Maybe we can unweight our heels just a touch. Just lift them up off the mat a tiny bit. And from there, feel those big toes pressing into the mat. If we take our fingertips right back to that trunk, we should feel some tension through those core muscles. Again, they're working to hold us up nice and steady as we shift toward that small base of support in front. We're going to hold with those heels hovered up off the floor. Hold for 4, for 3, feel the shins, feel the calves. Here's 2, and 1. Keeping the weight forward toward the balls of the feet, we're going to lower those heels down. We'll shift our weight right back over those ankles again. Soften up your knees, shake them out, and let's make a quarter turn. We're going to prepare to get down to our mat. And as we back up toward the edge of our mat behind us, let's widen up our stance a little bit. Heels are lined up with our shoulders now. We're going to keep those knees nice and soft, keep a little engagement from the belly back toward the spine and vice versa, spine toward belly. Moving from the very, very front of your hip, we're going to tip that tailbone back and send the breastbone toward the floor. We're going to try to make a straight line between the back of the head, the middle back between those shoulder blades, and that sacrum right below the waistline. Tip forward so you feel a bit of a stretch behind those thighs. And from here, we're going to bend and straighten our knees a little bit. Just wiggle them, just a touch. As we wiggle, as that tailbone comes back toward the middle of the wall, we'll feel a nice length through the back of the hamstrings, maybe even into the back of the calves, just a touch. Wiggle for 3, 2, and 1. Let's bend up those knees a touch. We're going to stick our weight back, getting our center of gravity a little closer to our heels now. And let's reach those fingertips to the floor. We're going to walk ourselves out toward a hands and knees position, keeping in mind that if you want a little more padding under those knees, we can always double our mat up to the bottom of the shins as we take our knees down to the floor. Wrists and shoulders are lined up now. Knees and hips are lined up. Let's turn the toes under so we press the base of the big toe and the base of that pinky right into the floor. Let's draw the belly up toward the spine. We're going to curl through a cat position, looking down toward those thighs. We're going to reverse to cow, tailbone toward the ceiling, breastbone forward. Curl and reverse through a range that works for you. We might feel like we're oiling some squeaky joints here, so I want you to start small and then ease into a slightly bigger range as you see fit. We're going to curl and reverse one more time. Let's take that body back to neutral. Wrists and shoulders, knees and hips are lined up. We're going to turn the tops of the feet down toward the floor. Soles of the feet face the ceiling. Let's take our feet together, our knees apart, and we'll press that bottom right back down toward the heels. We might feel a little stretch through the thighs. As we walk our hands forward toward the front of the mat, keep those elbows straight as long as you can. We might start feeling a little bit of a stretch through that armpit. And as we lower our forehead toward the floor, whether it touches or not, we should feel some opening through the outside borders of those shoulder blades. Let's pause, pressing that forehead down as close as we can get it to the mat. Inhale. Breathing out, drop those forearms down. We're going to shift our weight over them now. Pressing the shoulder blades to the floor, let's lengthen those legs out behind us, straightening the knees and opening the hips toward the floor, enough that we can get the middle of the thighs resting on that mat. Let's hold it there. We're going to draw that belly up toward the spine. Shift your weight from forearm to forearm. Push the floor away with the hands. Let's rock it side to side. There's 4, 3, shift for 2, and shift for 1. Let's press our bodies away from that screen. We're going to turn on our side, tuck the arm farthest from the screen right underneath the body. And we're going to turn over to our backs. Let's come to rest on our backs with the heels lined up with our sit bones. Heels are going to be 4 to 6 inches away from our sit bones, and the heels, the knees, and the hips are equal distance away from each other. Let's press those hands into the floor, nod the chin toward the neck, and gently draw the belly back toward the spine. As we draw our core muscles in, if we take our fingertips right in to the inside toward midline from our hip bones, we should feel a little bit of tension in those muscles right to the outside and below the belly button. We're going to hold some tension in those muscles as we picture that clock face on our pelvis and abdomen. We've got 12 up by the breastbone, 6 by the pubic bone, 3 and 9 on either side. Keeping the upper body nice and still, we're going to curl that pelvis, pubic bone toward breastbone for 12 o'clock, and then reverse and lengthen toward 6 o'clock. Curl to 12, lengthen to 6. The pelvis is moving between 12 and 6, much like it is when we curl between our cat and cow positions. We're just keeping that upper body, that breastbone, and that middle to upper part of the rib cage nice and still. Release to 6 o'clock. Now we'll take it right back to neutral. We're going to picture 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on either side. And now let's rock that pelvis, rock those hips toward 3 o'clock and roll them toward 9, toward and away from that screen. As we take those hips side to side, think about letting the backs of the shoulders press firmly into the floor and let those collarbones come away from the center of the body. We should get a nice stretch through the chest muscles. Maybe we flip our palms to face the ceiling, press the backs of the thumbs into the floor. That'll open up those shoulders and chests a little further. Rock it to 3, roll it to 9. Taking that pelvis right back to neutral, take a big breath in, and we'll exhale our arms to the ceiling. Keeping the rest of the body nice and still. Again, let's reach our shoulder blades up to the ceiling, wrap them around the front of the body, taking those fingertips up a bit higher, and then lower those blades to the floor. Reach those hands to the ceiling and lower the blades to the floor. Keep that core nice and active as we reach and lower. If we want to challenge our core and our trunk stability a little further as those shoulders come up and down, maybe we slide our legs out straight along the mat. That pelvis stays facing the ceiling. We reach and lower the hands. There's 4. Reach and lower for 3. Here's 2. Last one. Reach those blades up, anchor them back down to the mat. We'll bend up our knees, again, lining the heels up with the sit bones, and let's take those arms and reach them all the way back overhead. Belly stays down, lowest ribs stay down, breastbone stays pressed toward the floor, and we nod that chin a little closer to the neck as we open the arms overhead. We're gonna pause here for a breath. Breathing out, we maintain that navel to spine connection as we flip our palms to face the ceiling. Open the arms out to a T. Palms facing the ceiling. Now take a big breath in. And as we exhale, those hands come right back up to the top, reaching those fingertips toward the ceiling. Keeping the lower body nice and still. Again, we draw the belly a little closer to the spine. Let's take one arm at a time, out toward the floor, out to either side. Inhale it to the ceiling, exhale and switch to the other side. Inhale, arm to the ceiling, exhale, open to the side. Inhale, arm to the ceiling, exhale, open to the side. We're gonna keep this pattern going at a pace that works for you. We're working on lengthening out through those chest muscles. We should feel a little bit of slack on the side that's reaching toward the ceiling and a little bit of stretch from breastbone all the way out to the front of that shoulder on that moving arm. Out to the side, take that arm back to the ceiling. We'll breathe it in. And exhaling, let's bring one knee up to 90 degrees. Shin is parallel to the ceiling. We'll bring the other one up to meet it in tabletop position. Picture something balanced on those shins that we want to keep nice and stable. We're going to arc our arms toward the wall in front of us and flip those palms over to face the floor, keeping them hovered right up at the top of our trunk. We're going to nod that chin toward the neck, and perhaps we can straighten those legs a bit more. Let's find that point where we can straighten the legs to where the trunk stays nice and still, the tailbone stays nice and still, and we feel that nice stretch through the back of the thighs from sit bone all the way to the back of the knees. Keeping the arms forward, arcing them and reaching them toward the wall in front. Let's pat those hands up and down. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep that pattern going. Inhaling for 5 counts, exhaling for 5 counts. Maybe we challenge it further by taking our feet toward the wall in front of us. Breathe it in. And exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe it out. Keep it going. We're going to place one foot on the mat, adding a little kickstand that gives us a little bit more support for the trunk. We're going to keep reaching that belly really firmly down toward the spine. Inhale. Breathe it out. Maybe we extend that leg back up to meet the other one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe it out. We have 3 more breaths. We're going to press the air up to the ceiling using those palms. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, pull those knees back to tabletop. One more big breath in here. Breathe it out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's flip our palms toward the floor. Draw the knee farthest from the screen all the way into the chest and keep it held there as we lengthen our other leg out along the mat. We're going to tighten up the front of that thigh. Hold it nice and still, nice and active through that front of the thigh. And let's draw the other bent knee across the body. Let that hip wiggle up just a touch from the floor. We'll wiggle it back to the center. Keep a hold of that knee and using those abdominals. Picture your abdominals helping you hover that straight leg up off the mat just a touch. We're going to reach our feet forward on those straight legs. We're going to pull that bent knee a little closer to the chest. Hold it there and keeping the pelvis nice and still, we'll take that lifted leg side to side, out and in. Keep it going. Side to side, let's circle the wall in front of us. Again, we stir that hip in its socket. The pelvis stays nice and still. Belly stays drawn down. Let's circle the other way. Same leg. Circle for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to keep that straight leg hovered right where it is as we breathe in. And exhaling, pull that opposite knee into the chest and press the other leg forward. Stretch it toward the wall. Lower that heel down. Keeping that quad nice and tight so our knees stay straight. We're going to pull our bent knee across the body and give it a little wiggle, letting that hip come up off the mat. Wiggle for 3, for 2, And for 1, take it right back to the center. We're going to keep a hold of that pulled in knee. Belly stays engaged. Picture using those abdominals to help you hover that straight leg up off the mat. We'll take that lifted leg side to side, keeping that pelvis nice and still with those hip bone pointers pressing right up to the ceiling. Take that leg to the side, sweep it back to the center, and we'll circle the wall in front of us. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it the other direction. Last circles. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's slide that straight leg down to the mat. We're going to hang on behind our opposite knee and lengthen that leg up to the ceiling. Pause at the point where we first start to feel that nice stretch through the hamstring again. And we can add to this by flexing and pointing those toes if we have a little more slack to take out. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down to keep them anchored to the floor. And then pointing the toes to the ceiling, let's keep our core engaged and bring our arms up as well. Let's hold that lifted leg right where it is. Bend the knees if you need to take a little more slack in. We're going to take those arms back overhead, lengthen through the sides of the body. Inhale the arms up to the ceiling and exhale them forward toward the floor. Let's sweep those arms back and forth through that nice semicircle arc, keeping the rest of the body still. Challenging it further if you'd like, we can lift that supporting leg up just a few inches off the mat into a hover. And if we need a little step back, we could bend that lifted leg as much as we need to. Let's press those hands into the floor as we take our foot down to the mat, or the back of our leg down to the mat on that supporting leg. We're going to take our lifted leg side to side. Use your hands to help encourage stability through the trunk as we draw that horizontal line on the ceiling. Twice more here. Let's sweep through some circles. Draw the circles on the ceiling with your toe. Bend the knee if we need a little more slack. That pencil's coming right up from the kneecap if the knee's bent. Pause at the top, breathing in, and exhaling. We'll take it the other way. Circle for 4. Add the hover if you want to make it a little more challenging. Here's 2. Last 1. Pause at the top, grab on behind that thigh. We're going to lower the hovered leg to the floor as we pull that bent knee into the body. Big breath in. Switch it up on the exhale. Opposite knee pulls in, slide the other leg out nice and straight. Activate that quad. We'll hold on behind that newly pulled in leg. Extend that knee, lifting the foot to the ceiling. Roll those shoulders back and down. Add on to that length by flexing and pointing through the toes. Bending the knee if we need to get a little more slack in the system to do so. Let's point those toes. Maybe we hover our supporting leg up off the floor. Let's take those arms to the ceiling. We'll move those arms in an arc. Take them back overhead, up to the ceiling and down to the floor in front of us. Pinkies touch the mat. Arms come up and back, thumbs toward the floor. Arcs come up and forward, arc them up and forward, pinkies to the mat. Repeat at a pace that's working for you, adding that slack into the system through knee bends if you need to. We're going to float our arms to the ceiling, back overhead one more time. Inhale them up, exhale them down to the mat in front. And let's take our lifted legs side to side. Again, straightening and bending that knee as you see appropriate to keep our pelvis nice and still, but also to give you the appropriate level of challenge. Out and in. One more time, out to the side, back to the center. We'll sweep through our circles, pressing those hands into the floor. Maybe we add a little hover for greater challenge. Maybe we bend our moving knee if we need to take a little slack back into the system. Pause at the top, take a breath. Exhaling, we'll circle the other way. There's 4. Keep it going for 3. Last 2. And 1. We're going to hang on behind that thigh again. Let your thigh rest and press into those clasped fingers. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down and keeping the core engaged. Let's switch our legs. Inhale, bringing that opposite leg up to meet our stretching leg. As we exhale, switch your grip, float the other leg down to hover. Inhale and lift, exhale, switch. Inhale and lift, exhale, switch. We're going to keep this pattern going. Bend both knees if you need to take tension off. If the knees are bent, keep them bent at the same angle throughout that arc of motion that your hip is doing. Maybe we get a little flex through those hamstrings. Maybe we want to flex our feet. Change that stretch a little bit. Wherever we are, we've got 4. We've got 3. 2 more switches. And last 1. Good job. Point those toes, pull the knees into the chest, and we'll rock that body side to side. Let's take everything right back to the middle. Grab onto your kneecaps. We're going to use our hands to guide those legs right back up to our 90-90 position. Let's take the heels of the hands and gently press them into the thighs, just above the kneecaps. As we build our pressure, we'll feel that core start to work a little harder. We're going to again think about dropping those ribs and that breastbone down a little closer to the floor. Let's take that hand closest to the screen. We're going to press it into the top of the hand on the far knee. Giving that pressure, we're going to feel the core working, particularly a little more hard, a little more challenging, a little more work on that side that we're pressing into. That free leg is now going to come forward to the wall in front of us, and then we'll inhale it back in line with the other knee. Exhale, press, inhale to center. Exhale, press, inhale to center. One more time, exhale, press forward. Inhale back to tabletop. Let's change our hands up to the other side, pressing both hands into that leg closest to the screen. Take that free leg, we'll breathe in, and exhaling, press that free leg forward. Inhale it to tabletop. Exhale and press, inhale to tabletop. Keep this going. If you need a little more support, that hand that that leg that we're pressing into could absolutely be pressed firmly into the mat. Exhale, press, inhale to center. One more time, exhale, press. Hold that pressure there. We're going to pull our bent knee all the way into the chest. Hold it there. Keeping the core nice and active, we're going to lower that leg all the way down to the mat. We're going to place that foot on the floor. We'll stretch out that opposite leg straight as we can. Again, looking for pelvic stability with that belly button and that pubic bone pressing straight up to the ceiling. Big breath in here. Exhaling, we'll take our arms right back up to the ceiling. We're going to keep those shoulder blades dropped, the chin dropped toward the neck, that breastbone and lowest ribs anchored to the floor. Hold it here. Let's slide that leg farthest from the screen into a bent knee position. Bring it back up to tabletop. Hold it there. Keeping the core engaged, we're going to slide our opposite leg right up to meet it. Keep them there. Big breath in. As we exhale, that arm closest to the screen goes back overhead, and we press our opposite leg forward, seeing if we can get it to a position where it hovers just a touch off the mat. Inhale through midline, exhale and switch. Inhale through tabletop, exhale, switch to our long diagonal. Inhale to center, exhale and lengthen. Inhale to center, exhale and lengthen. We're going to switch it off for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We bring those arms to the ceiling, legs right back up to our tabletop. Flex up the feet, and let's take one heel at a time down to the mat and back up. Exhale and lower, inhale and lift. Exhale, lower, inhale and lift. Switch it up, inhale to the top. We can stay there if we want to keep it at that level of challenge. If we want to increase the difficulty, we draw the belly down, inhale. As we exhale, lower both heels down to the floor. Lift them both back up to tabletop. Exhale and lower, inhale and lift. Progressing further, arms come back as our heels come down in front. Inhale back up to tabletop. Exhale, heels down, inhale, lift up. Exhale, heels down, inhale, lift up. One more time. Exhale, control those heels to the mat. Leave them there when they touch. We're going to take our toes down as well. And let's open those arms all the way back overhead. Elbows stay straight as they can. Let's take our arms out to the side, out to a T. Arc them down by the body, and let's turn our palms down to the floor, pressing them into the mat. Take a big breath in. As we exhale, widen the collarbones away from the middle of the body, pressing the upper shoulders into the floor as well. Let's inch our heels back toward our feet. Take a big breath in. And breathing out with an engaged core, belly to spine, let's press through those heels, lifting those glutes up into bridge. Lower back down with control, releasing the glutes when that tailbone touches the mat. We're going to take it up and down at a pace that works for you. I want you to think about keeping the spine and the belly drawn toward each other. And as we hit the top of our motion, we're shooting for a straight line from the knees to the hips all the way to the shoulders. Lower, lift and hold that bridge. Knees are pressing straight to the wall in front of us. We should be getting a little bit of a stretch through those thighs. We're going to press our hands into the floor for a little support as we squeeze those glutes a little further. And let's keep our hips nice and still as we take it up and down on the toes. Lift and lower the heels for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, last 2, 1. Heels stay down. Press those hips, pulse into the ceiling. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. Hold your hips lifted. Breathe it in. Exhale, bridge it down. Release the glutes at the bottom of the motion. And let's rock our knees side to side. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's bring those knees back up to the ceiling, reset that core. Heels come a touch closer to the bottom as we breathe in. We'll exhale back to our bridge, and let's take one knee at a time out from the center and back to the middle. Exhale away from the center, switching legs back to the center. Exhale, open the knee, inhale, center. Exhale, open, inhale, center. We're gonna repeat for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Take those knees back to the middle, hold it there. Let's lift only the heel on the knee close to the side closest to the screen. Keep the hips still as we switch to the other side. Switch them off at a pace that works for you. We're working on switching and shifting our weight here. If we want to take this a little further, one foot's flat, we lift to tabletop. Float that foot back down, switch to march on the other side. Repeat these through at your own pace. If the march is not working for you, stick with that alternating heel lift. Switch them off for 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Press that foot into the mat. Take a big breath in at the top. Exhale, control that pelvis down to the floor. Once that tailbone touches, we release those glutes. Let's rock those knees side to side for 4, for 3, last 2, and 1. Coming right back to the middle. Let's square off those hips to the ceiling. We're going to take that leg closest to the screen, cross the ankle over the other knee. We'll lift into figure 4 if we have a little more slack to take out. And let's rock away from that cross leg. Give it a little wiggle, letting that stretch move a little closer to the outside of the hip. Good. Take it back to the center. We're going to switch it up. Uncross those legs, cross that opposite ankle to knee. Find your squared off position, lift up if you can, and we'll rock away from the cross leg side. Again, feeling that stretch a little bit closer to the outside of that hip on the crossed over leg. Take it right back to the middle. We'll unwind, hug those knees into the chest. We'll take our feet to the floor. And as we make our way over to hands and knees, again, if you need a little more padding for the knees when we're up on all fours, double that mat over, or feel free to grab a towel roll to place right at the top of the shins. All right, once we're in that hands and knees position, wrists and shoulders, knees and hips lined up, wag your tail side to side. Take a hip toward each shoulder, keeping that upper body nice and steady, nice and still. Good. Wag your tail toward the screen. Look over that shoulder. Can you find your foot? Cross the opposite ankle over. Look toward those toes. As we look and locate that foot, we should feel a little bit of a stretch, a little lengthening through that opposite waistline. If you want to intensify that, see if you can reach your hand up and grab those toes. Give them a little gentle pull toward the shoulder. Take a breath here. Breathing out, we'll switch it up. Back to all fours. Wag your tail away from that screen toward the other wall. Look toward those toes. Cross that opposite lower leg over. Take a big breath in. You should feel a little bit of lengthening through the side of the waistline facing the screen. And then maybe we grab onto those toes, pull them a little closer to the shoulder for a little more length. Let's unwind here. We're going to hold. We can curl to cat, reverse and lengthen to cow. Good. One more time. Curl to cat, reverse and lengthen to cow. Take it right back to the middle. Belly and spine stay drawn toward each other. We're going to take a hand and tap it toward our opposite shoulder. Take that hand down, switch it up. Alternate through at a speed that works for you. I want you to feel what you notice as you lift one arm up. Do you notice the opposite knee getting a little bit lighter on the floor? We're shifting our weight. We're responding to rotational challenges. If we want to make it harder, walk those hands a little further forward. Open your knees toward the floor. Again, we tap the hand to the shoulder. If we need to go back to all fours, that's perfectly fine. If we want to take it further, press those feet into the floor, lift up into your plank. We can continue to tap. We have 4 taps. Last 3, last 2, last 1. Hands come down. Let's take those knees right back underneath the hips if they've been anywhere else. 1 cat, 1 cow. Take it to neutral. We'll squeeze and press our shoulder blades together and apart. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press, squeeze and hold. We're going to press those blades to the floor. The hand closest to the screen comes right up to that same side thigh, keeping the shoulders squared off to the mat. We'll squeeze and press again. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Let's take our other hand to the mat, press it in there firmly press that shoulder blade down. Opposite hand comes to the thigh, squeeze and press. There's 4, 3, last 2, and 1. Take that second hand down, big breath in. Exhaling, reach that arm closest to the screen all the way up toward the ceiling. Place it back on the floor, reverse. Opposite arm opens up to the side, breastbone to the other wall. Take it down. Inhale, open the arm. Exhale it to the floor. Switch it up. Inhale, open the arm. Exhale to the floor. One more time on each side. Open that arm. Take it back down. Inhale, open the arm. Take it right back down to the mat. Let's slide that leg closest to the screen, back behind the body. We're going to keep our toes on the floor, squaring off those hips. Let's now lift that toe up just a couple inches from the mat. We're going to take it side to side. Out and in. Out and in. Take it out to the side. Can we reach it all the way up till it's lined up with our hip? Place that foot on the floor if you can. We're going to rock back and forth, getting into that inner thigh just a touch on that straight leg. Maybe that leg's not quite as far toward the knee. Maybe it's back a little bit. That's okay. We're going to wiggle the heel to the bottom, or the bottom to the heel. Whoop. Lost that AirPod. I was wondering when that was going to happen. Okay, let's slide that leg back in. Pull that knee right back into the center underneath the hip. Big breath in. Exhale, opposite foot slides out. Hold it there. Hips stay square. Let's lift that toe up just an inch or two off the floor. And we'll slide that leg out to the side. Right back in line with the body. Slide it out. Right back into the body. Slide it out to the side. We're going to hold it there. Place that foot on the floor. Rock it back and forth. Back and forth. Good job. Back and forth. Again, adjust that foot position if you need to. We'll come right back up to hands and knees. Hold it there. Take that leg back behind the body. Lift it up. We're going to keep it nice and straight. Take that opposite arm out in front. Float it back down. Switch to the other side. Leg comes back, arm comes forward. Switch it through. And reach. Switch it through. And reach. Good job. Let's keep it going. Here's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Hold it there. Can we hold our leg back there and switch our hands? Alternate the arms. There's 4. 3. 2. And 1. Take a breath. Exhaling. Let's switch to our other side. Slide that opposite leg back. Opposite arm forward. Hold it there. Find your balance. Maybe we switch our arms. Here's 3. Here's 2. Here's 1. Hands come down. Knee comes right back down. Let's take our feet together, our knees apart. We'll take the bottom back to the heels, and we're going to slide those arms forward toward the front of the mat. Let's take that forehead down just a touch closer to the floor, lining up our ears and elbows. Big breath in. As we exhale, walk the hands toward the screen. Pause hand over hand, inhaling as we stretch out or lengthen into that side we're moving away from. And then breathing out, let's walk them to the other side. Pause hand over hand. Again, take a big breath. As we exhale, those arms come forward. Hold it there. Let's drop our forearms, shift the weight over them. We're going to take our legs back behind the body. We're going to lower those hips, opening them up down to the floor, just like we did during our warm-up. And we're going to make sure we keep that belly drawn up toward the spine as we squeeze and press through those shoulder blades. Squeeze them together, press them apart. Squeeze them together, press them apart. Twice more. Squeeze and press, squeeze, press and hold, keeping those shoulder blades pressed to the floor. Let's bend the knee, bringing a heel toward the bottom, straighten it out, and then switch. Goal here as we alternate side to side is to try to keep that low back curve the same as we move our legs. Maybe we add a double kick for a challenge. Kick, kick, straighten, kick, kick, and straighten. Keep it going. Kick, kick. Repeat for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Good job. Let's take those legs down. We're going to bring our upper body down just a touch, get those hands to the floor. Let's press ourselves right back to hands and knees. We're going to curl through cat and reverse to cow. Again, curl and reverse. Take it back to neutral. Let's take a lengthwise seat on our mat. We're going to bring those feet out in front of us. Heels are lined up with our sit bones. Wiggle yourself forward till you have enough padding. Again, if you need more padding, go ahead and double your mat up. We're going to keep our feet hip width apart. Heels, knees, and sit bones are equal distance from each other. Grab onto those shins. We're going to come up onto the balls of the feet and keeping those elbows nice and soft. We're going to angle ourselves back just a touch. Hold it there. Let's switch our grip and hold on behind the thighs. And as we hold on there, we're thinking about drawing the belly away from the thighs. So drawing back toward the spine. We're going to roll our shoulders back and down. And then one at a time, straighten and bend one knee and then straighten and bend the other. They don't have to straighten all the way. We're just shooting for a little bit of extension, a little bit of length through the back of the thighs as our trunk and pelvis stay still. Switch it for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to come up a little straighter, heels to the floor. Let's take our hands to the outsides of the knees. Press the hands and knees toward each other. We should feel some activation in those hip muscles. They shouldn't get sore, but they should feel like they're doing a little bit of work. Keeping that belly drawn back, let's open the arm closest to the screen out to the side and then float it back to that leg. Switch it up. Open the opposite arm out. We should feel our oblique muscles working, the side muscles working on the side where we're holding onto that knee. Open and shut. Open and shut. Grab onto those shins. Pull yourself up nice and tall. We're going to bring our feet forward just a bit so our bodies are up a little more vertically oriented. Let's take our hands back behind the body, fingertips face toward the toes or out to either side, whatever feels best on your arms. We're going to straighten out our elbows and squeeze those shoulder blades together. Hold that position, hold that squeeze. And maybe if we have a little more slack we can take out of the system, we walk those tailbones forward, bottom to heels. Find the stretch points, that chest wall, the upper arms, maybe even into the elbows. And we're going to now send that breastbone up toward the ceiling. That's going to intensify that stretch along the chest. It's going to make you squeeze those blades together a little further. Let's take a big breath in and a big breath out. We have 2 more breaths here like this. If you want to challenge it further, bring your heels a little closer to your bottom. We could unweight those rear ends. We can come up toward a reverse tabletop. Big breath in, exhale. Inhale again, breathe it out. One more time, big breath in. As we exhale, bring those hips down. We're going to turn and face our screen, coming up into a tall kneel. Shake out those wrists, either once we're in tall kneel or before we even get there. Maybe we clasp our hands, roll those wrists out of touch. And again, adjust your padding as you see fit. We're going to take our hands to our hips, level off those pelvises, and take one leg out to the side. Drop into a squared off hip position, and we'll inhale the arms out. Line up those hands with the shoulders. Big breath in. As we breathe out, side bend toward that bent knee. We'll inhale up and exhale, side bend away from that bent knee. Inhale up, exhale, and side bend. Inhale up, exhale, switch. Twice more each. Inhale up, exhale, and side bend. Inhale up, exhale, reverse. Last time, inhale up, exhale, and side bend. We're going to hold. Press that straight leg up to the ceiling. 7, 6, 5, 4. Feel the side of the hip doing some work. Let's bring ourselves up tall. We'll exhale, side bending toward that straight leg one final time. Let's take ourselves upright. Hands come right back to the hips. Switch it up to the other side. Lengthen that opposite leg out, dropping that hip into a squared off position. Inhale the arms out to the side, and we'll exhale, side bending toward that bent knee. Inhale up and exhale, reverse. Inhale up, exhale, and side bend. Inhale up, exhale, switch it up. 2 more. Inhale up, exhale, and side bend. Inhale up, exhale, reverse. Last one here. Inhale up. We'll pause as we exhale and side bend. Pulse that leg up. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come up nice and tall. We'll side bend toward that straight leg one more time. Let's bring that trunk up. Bring ourselves back to tall kneel. Roll those shoulders back and down. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's flip our palms to the screen. Squeeze the blades, reach those hands back to the wall behind us, and we're going to pulse those pinkies together. Squeeze through those blades, feel that chest open up. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take our arms down. We're going to make our way all the way down to our side. We'll line up our heels with our bottom and bend up those knees in front. Let's press our top hand into the floor And keep those feet lowered as we lift and lower our knees for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Take those knees down, lift those feet for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hold the feet up there. Top knee comes up and down. 3, 2, 1. Hold them up there. Keep that top hand pressed into the floor. Straighten and bend both knees. 3. They don't have to go all the way straight. Just do your best. Last one. Toes come together. Take that top knee down. Take both feet down. Fire hydrant lifts. Full top leg comes up and down. 2. And 1. Back to hip height. Swing that knee forward. Press it back. Swing it forward. Press back. Forward and back. Last one. Forward. Press it back and hold it there. We're going to straighten out our knee, keeping the thigh right where it is. Straighten out your bottom leg, lining it up with the front of your mat. We're going to take our top arm, stretch it overhead toward that wall closest to the crown of the head. We touch the toes down, lift, lower and lift, lower and lift. Last one, circle forward. There's 4, 3, 2. Reverse it for 4, 3, 2. Hold it up there. Bring that bottom leg up to meet your top leg. We're going to take them both down and up. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring those knees down. Bend them up. Pat out your hip. All right, let's take it up and over to our other side. One more side to go, then we'll finish up with some balancing. We'll rest on that bottom arm. Knees are forward. Heels line up with that rear end. Lift your waistline. Press that top hand into the floor. Take those knees up and down. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, lift and lower the feet. 3, 2, hold them up there, top knee presses. 3, 2, hold that knee up there, press your hand into the floor, straighten and bend the legs best you can. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take the knees down, take those feet down. We reset that waistline, lift it from the floor. Fire hydrant lifts with that top leg. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Swing the knee forward, press it back, swing it forward, and press. Forward and back. Last one, swing it forward, press it back. Keep that thigh nice and still as we straighten our leg out. We'll straighten our bottom leg out as well. Extend that top arm up and overhead, reach it to the wall. Toes come down and up. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. Lower and hold. Circle forward. 3, 2, and reverse it. Back for 4, 3, 2. Hold it up there. Reach that bottom leg in line with the top leg. Press them together. Take them down and up. There's 8, 7, 6, 5. You can do 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Take them down. Bend those knees up. Give your hip a little pat, and we'll turn onto our backs. All right. Lining up those heels with the sit bones. We're going to take that leg closest to the screen, cross it over the other one, lift up toward that figure 4. And if you have a little more room to move, rock slightly away from that cross side. Take a breath, hold it here. Exhaling, we'll bring it back to the center. Switch up those sides, heel to knee. Cross and lift. Rock away from the cross side, hold and take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's take it back to the middle. We're going to unwind those knees, take the feet to the floor, and we'll turn over to hands and knees as we think about making our way up to our feet. We'll pause right at that all fours position. Let's curl through 2 cats and reverse through 2 cows. Good, take it back to the middle. Let's come up to a plank if you can. Take that second foot to the mat, lift the bottom, take it to the ceiling as we line up our elbows and ears. Maybe those knees are bent, that's okay. Drop your heels to the floor. We can walk our hands and feet toward each other. We're gonna pause when we have our weight right over the front of our ankle joints, bend up those knees, and let's make our way up to a nice tall standing position. Good job. As we get set to finish with balance, if you do need something to hold on to, A wall would be fine, a chair, a countertop, a sofa back, anything that helps you keep your balance is totally fine to use right here. We're gonna pause with our heels lined up with our sit bones, line up the weight in front of the ankles, hold it here. Cross your arms over your chest. Let's look up and down. Do you feel steady on your feet? If you do not here, go ahead and find something to hold on to if you're not already there. Look side to side, same thing. If you feel like your balance changes as you turn your head, I do want you to find something to hold on to. All right, once we decide if we want something to hold, we're gonna get ourselves set up heel to toe. Tightrope walking position, hold it there. If this is challenging enough, stay right where you are. Otherwise, add some head turns, look side to side. Well, let's look forward, shift the weight to the back leg. We'll rise up into single leg balance and let's hold it. Hold it for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Take that leg down and let's switch to our opposite side. Tightrope stance. Find that balance point. Add your head turns if you want to challenge it further. Take it back to the middle. Shift the weight back. Find your way to single leg balance and we'll hold for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take those feet apart. Good job. We're going to get those heels about the width of our shoulders apart. Settle back toward the heels and soften up those knees. Let's take a few shoulder circles back and down, continuing to reach the crown of the head up to the ceiling. Take some deep breaths. Circle for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's take a big breath in, clasp those palms, press them all the way to the ceiling. We'll take our feet together and then let's unclasp the hands, reach those fingertips up. We'll bend our elbows and bring everything into our center. Well, happiest of Fridays to everybody. As always, I'm just grateful and happy to see you all and looking forward to our next session. I will not be here live next week, but there will be a recording available.